Hey guys, welcome to the WWE podcast. Tonight we're reviewing Monday Night Raw with Edge versus Orton for the final time and Alexa Bliss's latest hocus pocus. Sheamus officially turns heel, we're not kidding, and Charlotte Flair's stupidity continues. All this and so much more. Let's get everything going right after this.
So here's something that I bet you don't think about a lot. That's your grip strength. You know, we use our grip strength for so many different things during the day that I don't think we realize how important it is, and how important it is to not just realize we're using it, but to strengthen it. Having good grip strength can mean the difference between falling and not falling, being able to hold onto that item or dropping it. And you know what else really good grip strength does? It creates a great first impression. Have you ever met someone for the first time and they give you that dead fish hand? That is not a great way to make a good first impression. So why don't you take care of your grip strength? Check out Grip Sanity. You may be asking, what is Grip Sanity? Well, it's an all-in-one device. It's easy to change handles. It'll have your forearms burning in minutes. It'll improve your grip strength, of course, but it's very convenient because you can take it with you anywhere. There's no clunky, equipment that you have to bring with you. So if you're wondering what this is and you want to learn out more information, go to gsanity.com and check out Grip Sanity. Look at the testimonials. It's one of those things, guys, that I don't think people really even notice or realize maybe they have an issue until they have a problem. So get ahead of it. Go to Grip Sanity. Check out gsanity.com. That's their website that you can look at the product. You can check out. There's tons of different colors, and you can find the one that suits you. So again, go out and check Grip Sanity. The website is gsanity.com.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE podcast. It's time to talk Monday Night Raw that took place last night in Tropicana Field. And one of these days I'm going to be able to give you guys a different location. I can't wait until I can tell you that it's not emanating from Tropicana Field or the Thunderdome, and I don't have to hear the phrase that it's critically acclaimed, right, and award-winning, because that's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day when we don't have to hear that Monday Night Raw is emanating from a critically acclaimed and award-winning Thunderdome. One other little thing that irks me that always happens, well, always, 9 times out of 10, whoever is opening the show, and I'm not talking about the announcers, I am talking about whoever's on camera first, always has to welcome us to Monday Night Raw. Why? Do we not know what we're watching? I'm fairly sure that the majority of people know what show they're watching based on the fact that most of us stream it, so we have to click on the link to know what we're watching. The announcers tell you at the beginning of the show. There's a signature at the beginning of the show. It's fairly clear what we're watching, so there should be no confusion by the time you see somebody on your screen as to what show you're watching. There's logos all over the screen. I mean, it's just inexcusable. So why is there this incessant need, not only to point to the WrestleMania sign, which I went over in my Royal Rumble review, but also when they open Monday Night Raw to welcome us to Monday Night Raw? Why? It doesn't feel... It just feels like they're controlled. And while they are controlled to a large degree on what they say on the program, if not all of it, I don't want to feel that way. And it's such a small thing, but I don't understand why. And Drew McIntyre coming out there on Monday Night Raw and, yes, welcoming us to Monday Night Raw, as he always does. Can that not be the first thing he says once in a while? It just feels so... It's like a requirement. It feels very... you hit your quota. Okay, you did it. Thank you, Drew, for making sure the audience knows what effing show they're watching. And then he has to run down the card. There's always somebody that seems to run down the card either before or after the pay-per-view as if they're suddenly interested in every other match that's going on, but it's really just to remind you the matches that happened. I don't understand it. But boy, okay. What a way to set the tone for the show, isn't it? I mean, I haven't even really got to the content and I'm already ranting a bit. But don't worry, there's more to come that has more substance and more reasoning and justification behind them than just these fickle things that my mind comes up with and I have problems with. So, guys, welcome to the show. If you haven't joined me, I promise I'm not always this negative. It's just those couple of things really irk me. So, you guys can catch us many, many times a week as we do, my God, I think it's 7 shows a week. And tonight's the Monday Night Raw review. Tomorrow's the Wrestling Nostalgia and the Mailbag. And then that'll be it for me until Sunday. I get a break after this. I've been recording 4 out of 5 days of the last 5 days. It's been, if you're a podcaster, content creator for wrestling or a podcast or YouTube, wherever, you know that it's been a very, very long, arduous few days in terms of creating content, which is not as easy as people may think sometimes. But I appreciate you sticking with us and for making us a part of your day, evening, morning, whatever time of the day or night it is for you. Thank you. I know that some of you listen to us at work, and it helps you get through the day or on flights or wherever, and I'm glad that we can make things go a little quicker for you, make things more tolerable for whatever you may be doing. And God knows we all need it today with everything going on and COVID still being a part of our lives and, all that kind of thing. And so I'm glad that we're able to be a part of that. And as we get into WrestleMania season, I hope to be an even bigger part for your wrestling news and for your analysis and just straightforward analysis. As by the way, if you didn't hear it, we have kind of a new intro. It's shorter, more concise, and I think it just kind of freshens things up. I think that while people have their preferences and openings to the show, it's just nice to change it up every once in a while, do it about once a year. And so I hope you took a listen to that. I always have to have Stone Cold in the intro, yes. It's just kind of, I have to. It's just a part of me that must have Stone Cold in the audio of the opening of the show. So I've also cut it in half from the other intro. That was a minute. This one's 30 seconds or less. So, guys, I want to first apologize to you. Those of you that downloaded our Royal Rumble review show, if you downloaded it within the first few hours of us uploading it, which I actually uploaded the Royal Rumble review show with the Botch guy, probably around 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, that's right, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when And for the first, 4 or 5 hours that it was up, there was some audio crossover for the first 20, 30 minutes where when I was putting it together, accidentally crossed an overlapped audio. So it was not listenable for the first few hours it was up. So my apologies for that. It was just one of those, I was completely burned out and didn't even pay attention to that part of it. So my apologies. It obviously has been fixed. I got up and panicked and had to fix it. So it's all good. The Royal Rumble review with the Botch guy. Of course, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. You got to listen to it. I think we were average to good on the show. I know many of you listening some of you thought it was a complete steaming pile of garbage. Other people thought it was really good. I don't have anybody saying it was outstanding. I have a lot of people kind of mediocre on the Royal Rumble. And if you want to get your Royal Rumble thoughts on the show verbally or via email, you can email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com, or you can call the show and you can leave a voicemail. And tomorrow night we'll be doing our mailbag portion, and we'll get your opinions or questions on the Royal Rumble or Monday Night Raw, whichever you want, or both. Call us at 518-952-0247. That is our voicemail number, and it gives you 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, it cuts you off. So try to be as concise as you can. I know that sometimes talking wrestling just gets you on tangents and rants. Hell, you're listening to this show, you know that happens. But I want your voice heard. I want you guys to call in or email me. I have your emails. I don't respond to them because I want to respond to them on the air. So please feel free. I want tomorrow night to be fun with Royal Rumble. I'm sure a lot of Monday Night Raw, as we are now officially on the road to WrestleMania. So one more thing, and then we're jumping into the Monday Night Raw review in detail and with a lot of passion on last night's show. Is if you'd like to support the show, please do so at www.podcast.com and click on the Amazon banner that's in the middle of the homepage. It'll redirect you to Amazon if you do any shopping. It just kicks back a small percentage of whatever you buy to the show. There's no hidden fees or anything like that. It's just an affiliate program, right? It just tells Amazon that we sent you there, and we get a small percentage of whatever you buy. So that'd be greatly appreciated. Or if you just want to write us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or just give us a 5-star rating, that's also pretty darn cool. And lastly, if you want to get rid of the ads and you're tired of ads, you want to listen easy peasy, maybe you listen to us to go to sleep. Some people apparently use us for sleeping. I don't know if we're ASMR. For those of you who know what that is, I don't think we are. But if you do, great. You can use us for whatever you'd like. But if you want to listen to us with no ads so you don't get interrupted, go to patreon.com, look for the WWE podcast. Search us out. We're right there. And for $1 a month, you get the entire library of the WWE podcast shows ad-free. No ads whatsoever. So that's pretty darn good. I mean, hundreds of episodes for $1. Not bad. Okay, let's jump into Monday Night Raw. Enough with the self-promotion, right? You want to hear about Monday Night Raw? So do I, right? Let's dive into the Monday Night Raw stuff. And what I always do, which has just been kind of a recent thing, is I'd like to talk about the last thing I saw on Monday Night Raw. And that is Randy Orton Edge and Alexa Bliss doing her latest magic trick. So I will say this. I am a big fan of Alexa Bliss. I think that she has done an amazing job. She was my pick for the Royal Rumble win. And in hindsight, it wasn't a smart pick, obviously. Hindsight is very easy to see, with Bianca Belair taking the victory there. But Alexa Bliss, to me, was the most improved star of 2020 on the women's side and into 2021 now. And many people made the case to me that, well, she doesn't need the belt, right? She doesn't need the belt. She's got the hocus pocus stuff. She's kind of Bray Wyatt's extension. And many people make the case, including myself, that Bray Wyatt doesn't need the belt. And while I don't think Bray Wyatt needs the belt, I think Alexa Bliss could go on an amazing run on her own. I don't think she needs to be infinitely tied to The Fiend. I want to see her in her own storylines, independent of Randy Orton. And whenever The Fiend does make his return, I do want to see Alexa Bliss kind of go on her own. I want to make sure that Alexa Bliss gets the story and the attention that she deserves, other than just kind of being that evil sidekick or conduit or extension of The Fiend. I want to see her actually engaged in her own story. She can keep this character and just, harness the powers of The Fiend, and she can do her own thing. She can be her own story. And while she kind of has that with transforming in her match with Alexa Bliss or with Asuka, and trying to transform in the Rumble, and then what she did this past week with Nikki Cross, I feel like she's not entrenched. It always comes back to Randy Orton. However, I'm not super annoyed by this because I understand why. The Fiend's not there, so she's the connection that's keeping this storyline alive. I get it, and I understand that, and that's fine. But once he returns and it's just about Randy and it's just about The Fiend, as it should be, then I would like her to go off on her own and do her own thing. So just a little bit of an opinion there. But this past week, Edge and Orton main evented Raw that lasted about 12 minutes. 12 minutes was the main event. They built it up nice. I will say I am shocked that this was just blown off in a Raw main event. That said, I am appreciative that they didn't just ignore that these two are on the same roster, and Edge left Monday Night Raw back in May when he got the triceps injury at the greatest wrestling match of all time, apparently, as it was marketed. And that's funny. Tom Phillips actually said it was promoted that way. If you didn't catch that, Tom Phillips said it was as promoted. It was the greatest wrestling match of all time. Right. So thank you, Tom Phillips, because that's exactly what it was. Great match. But nonetheless, my point is that Edge left. And if you don't remember, go check that promo. Go watch it back in May. But when he was injured, he said that he's coming back as the Rated R Superstar, that you've opened up something, Randy, that you can't close. And we get Mr. Adam Copeland back, right? We got Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky. I'm respecting everybody. I'm not the ultimate opportunist. I'm just Adam Copeland. And yes, he is Edge, but he's the soft version of Edge. He's the same Edge that we've seen since he came back, and he had a little bit of an edge at the beginning, no pun intended, with Drew McIntyre punking him out, saying why are you letting me in the ring and all this stuff. But he hasn't become the true rated R superstar. I'm not looking for rated R stuff, but who he was back when he was the true rated R superstar, the ultimate opportunist, and ruthless and all that kind of thing. So maybe that'll kind of evolve as we go on. But I'm not letting WWE go on that promo, and then all of a sudden he's back. And they put him back in with Randy Orton, which, again, I am praising them for at least closing this and putting a stamp on it. But it is a bit anticlimactic to have them do what they did in an excellent, excellent program that unfortunately got derailed by COVID, no fault of their own, but it took a lot of the steam out of their program once COVID hit. A lot. And I feel bad for them. I'm sure that wasn't the return that Edge imagined at WrestleMania, and being victorious in front of nobody except the guy backstage in an incessantly long Iron Man match. Or Last Man Standing match. It was not great. But my point about Monday Night Raw is that we have Edge back. They wrap up their program. And I'm glad that they at least cut promos to show that they cared, and that there's a little bit of a build here. And they did build it as the final time, and it tells me they're going separate ways at WrestleMania. That it's not going to be Edge versus Orton in a Last Man Standing or in an I Quit match as was originally proposed several months ago before Edge returned. That it was going to be Edge and Orton at WrestleMania, and they could have done that. But I will say, sadly, this match felt inconsequential. And I don't know why I felt that way. Did anybody else feel that Edge and Orton felt very inconsequential? And yes, it felt kind of important, but why couldn't... I don't know. There was no build to this. And Randy Orton has lost some of his steam since Edge came back. I mean, Edge was gone for 7 months with an injury. And again, it's just... A lot of this program is just victim of circumstance. This program is a victim of circumstance with Edge being injured for 7 months. That'll certainly take fans out of the moment with caring about wanting to see Edge beat up Orton after what Orton did to Edge, which was punt him in the head, which was supposed to be just the original story. Unfortunately, he got a real injury. But also, of course, COVID, right? I mean, COVID, as we just discussed, was just a complete disaster for when it comes to just fan investment at times, because you can't hear fans. You can't react in the moment. It doesn't feel as organic, all that kind of thing. So I was just a little bit underwhelmed. I was thinking it was definitely worthy of a main event. We've certainly seen Monday Night Raw main events that are much worse than this, and they put a great effort in. These two work like magic together, and with Christian back on a part-time basis, which I really marked out for. I loved it. I'm a huge Christian fan. I remember I even bought back in, I think it was 2005, because I was still in Myrtle Beach for college, which only lasted a semester. Go figure out how that happened. Yeah, maybe I'll tell you that story someday. But I remember purchasing a Captain Charisma t-shirt, and I remember wearing it, and it's still on my Facebook, and like the first few photos that you ever upload. By the way, if you ever want to hate yourself, it's really, really big side note. If you ever want to hate yourself and you want to like just loathe yourself and have some self-hatred, I don't know why you would, but if you do, go look at the first year that you uploaded photos on Facebook. Go back for some of you, it's like 10, 15 years. And go look at Time Hop. If you haven't downloaded the Time Hop app, if you really want to hate yourself, go look at statuses that you posted like 10 years ago. It's just straight out embarrassing. I look at my phone, every morning, and I look at Time Hop, and it's just an absolute disaster. I mean, it's just I feel embarrassed about stuff I said 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, right? And nobody remembers. Only you remember because you see it, and it feels like it's in the moment, even though it was 5, 10, even 12, 13 years ago. So, I don't know. Does anybody else feel this way? Totally, totally weird side note. Maybe I'll do it another show sometime that has nothing to do with wrestling, just odds and ends. Again, this was a really good main event. It just felt the least important since they've had their series of matches. But it was good, very good. And I wish they had more time, and I wish there was more build, and I wish that it wasn't just blown off on a Raw main event. For everything that they've done, they're going to blow these two off. But it tells me they have other plans for these guys at WrestleMania, which clearly they do, considering that it's going to be Edge who won the Royal Rumble, and Orton, who is still waiting on The Fiend to return. And we get Alexa Bliss. We knew The Fiend, and at least if you've been watching wrestling for the last few months, you probably had a hint that maybe The Fiend was going to return Monday night. And I was talking to the Botch guy, which, by the way, go subscribe to his channel, please. He's just awesome on YouTube. When we talked to him in our Royal Rumble review, he thought that The Fiend was going to debut on the Monday Night Raw after Rumble. And I was of the belief as well, and there was certainly a case to be made. So it's been quite some time now since we've seen The Fiend. I mean, we're pushing, 2 months? 2 months since we've seen The Fiend? It feels like it's been that long since he lit him on fire at TLC. I mean, so it's certainly been a long, long time since we've seen The Fiend. I give them credit, if it's not because of an actual injury or something, if it's just truly due to story-driven reasons, that The Fiend is off TV and they haven't been tempted to bring him back, as they're always tempted to just drive things into the ground when they don't need to and then they kill something. The discipline they have, if it's simply due and only due to the fact that they designed it this way and it wasn't just a consequence of an injury for Wyatt that we weren't privy to. But I give them credit for discipline, for being able to keep him off TV. The temptation must be really, really hard. But again, with Alexa Bliss doing such a great job, you have her to lean on. And I fully expected Bray Wyatt to reappear on Raw. So they're waiting probably till Chamber now. I mean, we're 3 weeks away from the Elimination Chamber. You would think that since, my God, they waited this long, why not go to the Chamber? So maybe that's what happens. I don't think, unless next week Alexa announces that, my friend's going to return and he wants to meet you at Elimination Chamber, and so that's their cute way of saying, yeah, I'm challenging you to a match, or I don't know. So that, again, I was surprised, but we had Alexa Bliss sit on the top rope and do her weirdness of this time putting blood out of her mouth. And she's doing a great job. They're going for horror movie here. They're going for horror movie. I also like the little entrance she has that The Fiend has when he's about to come in. His is a little more forceful with the tone of his music when the lights shut off. Hers is that innocent music that plays, and you hear the children's music play, and she's not far behind. I like that. I think it was fine. And Randy Orton was just kind of spooked out, and Edge gets the victory. Now, you could complain that Edge beat Randy Orton in a very contested fashion because he got a clean victory, but it was because he was distracted. And so was Charlotte Flair. And we're going to talk about that. Don't worry. I'm not happy about that whatsoever. But this is fine. I know that people are looking at this as hocus pocus. I do. But if you're going to do hocus pocus and you're going to do it well, I have no problem with it. I would love to see how they're going to pull this off with fans in an arena. I'd love that. I mean, they could do it with what she did on the top rope if they turn the lights off and on for her to get in the ring and get out of the ring. But they can't do her transformation. I mean, unless she actually possesses some kind of external inhuman power to be able to transform the way she does, I would love to see them do it. They're going to have to drop that. There's no option. You would have to drop that part of Alexa Bliss. But does WWE really have to worry about that in the near future? No, they don't. Of course, WrestleMania is probably going to have fans at it, at least several thousand in the arena for WrestleMania. So they can't pull that kind of hocus pocus with live fans at all. I also wonder, once they get back after WrestleMania, if fans are a success and there's no problems at WrestleMania, say 20, 25,000 people, very limited capacity, it's like 10, 15% capacity. I do wonder, or maybe it's like 20, 25% capacity now that I'm doing the math. Because I don't think that stadium holds 200,000 people. So, but I do wonder, well, what happens after that? Do they let fans in that arena on a weekly basis for Monday Night Raw? Or do they just continue with the Thunderdome? You wonder. Because I don't think that they can travel. Florida's the most liberating state if you don't want a ton of COVID restrictions, lockdowns, mask mandates, and everything else. So they're in a very safe place, a safe haven for that kind of thing to experiment with. And I'm not getting into politics here, whether you agree with it, don't disagree with it, whatever. The fact is, they probably stay there. They probably stay there and maybe offer tickets. The thing is, if they offer tickets, you're hitting the same market every single week. You're not going to have fans who are there, going there every single week, spending their hard-earned money every single week, paying $50-$60 for a ticket, and you're placating to the same fans. So I don't know what they do. I think WrestleMania will probably be WrestleMania and the Monday Night Raw after. I'm thinking we'll probably have fans. After that, they're going to have to have a meeting on that one, because I don't know what they do. You can't just keep placating and allowing the same fans in the same area to come out every single Monday night. It not only is going to create less ticket sales, you're not going to have the interest there, because you're just asking the same people in the same audience in the same market to come every single week. But it's also going to create even the fans that do come on a weekly basis, and there'll probably be some that would pay $60 every week to go. Those same fans are going to be less interested every single week, I think, because it's just, you're there this week, next week, the week after. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. Okay, so, I gotta get on board here and take a breath before I talk about Charlotte Flair. We're gonna give a little love to our sponsor, and then we're gonna talk about Charlotte Flair, guys. This one's starting to eat at me big time. Okay, this one's really, really starting to eat at me in a way that. It's not Ms. Morrison level heat, and we'll get to Bad Bunny in just a few minutes too. So we're gonna get to Charlotte Flair and the Bad Bunny. You guys want some rants? They're right on the backside of this.
So here's something that I bet you don't think about a lot. That's your grip strength. We use our grip strength for so many different things during the day that I don't think we realize how important it is, and how important it is to not just realize we're using it, but to strengthen it. Having good grip strength can mean the difference between falling and not falling, being able to hold onto that item, or dropping it. And you know what else really good grip strength does? It creates a great first impression. Have you ever met someone for the first time and they give you that dead fish hand? That is not a great way to make a good first impression. So why don't you take care of your grip strength? Check out Grip Sanity. You may be asking, what is Grip Sanity? Well, it's an all-in-one device. It's easy to change handles. It'll have your forearms burning in minutes. It'll improve your grip strength, of course, but it's very convenient because you can take it with you anywhere. There's no clunky, equipment that you have to bring with you. So if you're wondering what this is and you want to learn out more information, go to gsanity.com and check out Grip Sanity. Look at the testimonials. It's one of those things, guys, that I don't think people really even notice or realize maybe they have an issue until they have a problem. So get ahead of it. Go to Grip Sanity. Check out gsanity.com. That's their website that you can look at the product. You can check out. There's tons of different colors, and you can find the one that suits you. So again, go out and check Grip Sanity. The website is gsanity.com.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Alrighty, as promised, let's talk about Charlotte Flair. And let me set the stage, as this is a Raw review. I want to make sure that I accurately describe the situation that was unfolding that we're going to discuss here. And what happened was, we had a women's tag team title opportunity in a triple threat tag team match that saw Lana and Naomi. Interesting team there, and great to see Naomi back, by the way. I didn't really mention her on the Monday Night or the Rumble review. Great to see Naomi back. Great to see Lana actually, suddenly develop a spine over the last 6 weeks. And so they're a nice team. I do enjoy Lana and Naomi. I'm a fan right now. I'm a fan of that. Then we had the second team of Charlotte Flair and Asuka, who Asuka cut a serious promo for the first time in probably her entire career, it feels like, backstage. And we also had the Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke kind of filler tag team. And I hate to say that, guys, but let's be honest. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke are a filler tag team at this point, at least how they are presently constituted and presented in WWE. They are a filler tag team, albeit a serviceable one. nice to look at. I mean, I'm a guy, but that doesn't really affect my decision to put the belts on him. It's just I'm grasping at straws. Okay. I would like to see them do more. They don't say a whole lot. They're just the very average athletic blonde tag team with almost no personality. So maybe they'll do something with them at some point. But anyway, okay. So this is the triple threat tag team match for the opportunity for the women's tag team championship. And I will say, at least they are, again, refocusing back on the women's tag team championships. That's good. I mean, because how many times we've seen them talk about it, do something with it, and then you don't hear about it for 2 months. I mean, it feels like it's the Raw Women's Championship. When was the last time the Raw Women's Championship itself was ever talked about? Months and months and months and months. It's sad. Asuka is right now just holding a prop. That's what she's done, because they have done nothing to focus on that championship. And they're giving, look, I understand they're giving the women's tag team championships a shine, but that doesn't mean it should come at the expense of the Raw Women's Championship. Yes, you can elevate 2 titles at once. Okay, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. So I don't want to hear that, oh, well, they're just taking time to put the focus on the women's tag team championships. But why does that have to exclude? Why does that mean excluding the Raw Women's Championship? I know we're all building to Asuka versus Charlotte. We all know this. We've seen this since that Charlotte returned. We know that this is coming, just like the Sheamus heel turn. So let's just get to it. It's as if Asuka just kept the belt in hiding and said to management, "Guys, let's just wait until Charlotte gets back. I'm not really going to do anything with the belt." It's as if she shouldn't even come out with it. But okay. So in this match, we get the obligatory, again, not a bad match. Do I like the rules that you can tag in anybody? No. It should be only being able to tag in your tag team partner, as is with every other tag team rule ever instated. You can't tag in another team. Doesn't make sense, but it is. I'm not going to say it is, that is what it is, but I don't know. I don't want to get on that hill to die on that. I'm going to die on another hill, and that is the hill of Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair. Now, you could get angry at Rick, and I have gotten a little bit annoyed with Rick over the last several weeks that he suddenly needs to continue to be in the spotlight at 70-some years old, and Lacey Evans is just turn away, go away, don't want to even watch you heat. She is starting to reach the level of Miz and Morrison, not in a great way that makes me want to see her get beat up. She's not quite there, but she's on the fast track. She's in the express lane to the Miz and Morrison heat. That is, like, I'm just embarrassed. If she does her laugh one more time, I feel embarrassed for her. It doesn't give her heat. Okay. It doesn't make me go, oh, I wish somebody would punch her. It makes me embarrassed. It's, I don't know, me, just my personality. But Lacey Evans is just tied at the hip with Rick. Ric Flair's music hits as we have Charlotte Flair hit double natural selection. And then Ric Flair's music comes out for the umpteenth time. And we had Charlotte before the match tell Charlie Caruso that I'm not going to let my personal business interfere anymore. And what happens? The very next time she hears her father's music, what happens? She just cannot take her eyes off of her dad. Well, there's so much to talk about here. First of all, what the hell do you care if he's with Lacey Evans? What do you care? You probably grew up with him on a weekly basis, watching him with other women, hearing stories about Ric Flair with other women. You grew up with your dad knowing that's the way he's like. And so when you think about it from that perspective, it's just stupid that she would care about this. And secondly, if he comes out, big deal. Okay, so he stands there, right? She looks stupid is the next point. She looks, and baby faces are so guilty of this, that if you're in the middle of a contest with high stakes and you hear some music play, are you going to stop? You can just stop the game. You're going to stop the match and just stare at the ramp as to who's coming down. No, you're not. You would continue with the match. Charlotte Flair, again, I would excuse it once, even though I think it's stupid completely, just at all. But I would have excused it once. The fact that this has happened multiple times now, and she said before the match that she wasn't going to let this happen again, it makes her look dumb, extremely stupid. That she's continuing to allow this. Somebody of the level of Charlotte Flair is allowing this to happen time after time after time. And by the way, what the hell is the payoff of this? I've said this time and again. What is the payoff? Lacey Evans versus Charlotte Flair. Okay. I mean, that's not exactly a desirable outcome for most fans. What is it? Just a throwaway storyline to get us eventually to Asuka Charlotte? Can you come up with something else? I don't see the value in this at all. And why is she being distracted? What for? What? And why does she even care if Lacey Evans is with his dad? Maybe he wants to be with her. Let your dad be happy. I mean, none of this makes sense. She looks stupid week after week for continuing to fall for, oh, I hear music, let me stop what I'm doing. There's a lot at stake, but screw that. I want to see what's going on outside the ring. That's not the attributes of a professional. It's just not. So this is bad all the way around. From Charlotte to Rick to Lacey, there's nothing good going on here. Nothing. And to top it all off, Charlotte's cast in the wrong role of being a babyface. But the good news is that it looks like we're going to be getting Asuka and Charlotte a hard break sooner than later, as this has now happened twice to Charlotte and Asuka, as she lost the belts because of this stupid distraction. She didn't learn her lesson, and then she loses again an opportunity to challenge for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and she loses in the same exact fashion. Fool me once, fool me twice, right? We know the saying. So I don't know. This is just bad news all the way around. So the good news is, though, we do have new tag team challengers. The Glow is going to be, I don't know if that's their actual name. I'll just call them that. Lana and Naomi earn an opportunity for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and that's good. I think seeing those two as champion would be fun. Naomi brings so much energy. I would love to have her say something other than, and they're going to feel the glow. Well, the glow doesn't sound exactly, doesn't sound devastating or scary, does it? Every time she said that, I understand what she's doing, right? I understand that it's marketing. I understand that's her catchphrase. I understand that she glows in the dark. But can she come up with something a little bit more intimidating other than, and they're going to feel the glow? Well, again, glow, it actually sounds inviting. Like, I would like to feel the glow. I mean, glowing is a endearing term. I mean, so what are you going to do? You're going to put glow in the dark paint on them so they can feel the glow? Or, I mean, you hear all the time how pregnant women look like they're glowing. I mean, no one has ever said glow in a negative way, nor has it ever been in a threatening way. So I don't know if Naomi can come up with a different name, just hit the thesaurus, or I don't know, just come up with something different other than she always has to end it with, they're gonna feel the glow. It's comical. I'm like, that sounds like you're gonna give them a hug. It sounds like you're just gonna embrace them. Sorry if I ruined that for you guys, but I've always felt that way. I'm not ranting about it. It's just so soft. I mean, if someone tells me they're gonna give me the glow, I'd say, okay, let's do this, right? Okay. All right, I'm in dangerous territory now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Bad Bunny here. Now, I'm going to take a deep breath. Every time, almost, not always, almost every time WWE brings in a celebrity, they will, 9 times out of 10, make the celebrity look like $1 million and make the resident stars look like absolute idiots. And that they are fooled and they never take a bump. What I mean by this is, we have seen in the past how many people come in, stars come in. Snooki, for God's sakes, had a WrestleMania match. That's still, if I was doing podcasting at that point, I would have lost my voice on a rant. Maybe I'll review that sometime. Snooki's WrestleMania match. God almighty. We've had stars come in. Snoop Dogg has come in at times when they had the Raw guest host thing that was cool to do for a year or so. More often than not, the celebrities that come in, more often than not, don't do the favors for the wrestlers that are there. They don't take usually any bumps. They are very rarely end up looking stupid at the end of the program. It's just something that is, for whatever reason, just a law in WWE that is rarely accepted. So this one here with Bad Bunny, which, by the way, I've never heard of in my life, ever. And then he starts speaking Spanish at the Royal Rumble, and I'm thinking to myself, I even tweeted this out, which, by the way, you can follow me at wrestling_audio. I said, did they forget that most of their audience watching right now and listening is English speaking, and most of them probably don't understand what this guy's saying? And then we have Booker T standing there like a statue. It was bizarre. It was nothing more than a collaborative promotion for Bad Bunny. And I seriously have never heard of him. Maybe I'm out of the loop. I had no interest in hearing from him. I don't watch wrestling to hear rap music or Latin music. I just don't. I'm nothing against it. It's just that's not what I watch it for. It just, to me, there was zero connection. None. Less than none. And I said to myself, okay, can we just get through this? And, they'll do that from time to time. And then we get him back on Monday Night Raw, pulling up in a Bugatti, I think it was. Isn't that a song, like Sleeping in My Bugatti or something? It shows you how dated I am now. But he shows up in a Bugatti as if we're supposed to relate to that. As if we're supposed to go, oh my God, cool. I actually thought when I saw the shoes, it was Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon's a big shoe aficionado. So I said, oh, yep, it's got to be Shane-O, and it wasn't. It was Bad Bunny. I even hate saying that. It's obnoxious. So we're all supposed to cheer for him, and I love the pumped-in cheers that they put in for him as he's walking out of his Bugatti and towards the arena. And we're just all supposed to cheer for this D-bag. And then he gets into Miz and Morrison's business. Miz and Morrison have him on the dirt sheet or Miz TV. Who the hell cares? I think it was Miz TV. We have Bad Bunny at ringside, and the announcers are going bonkers. Like Bad Bunny is the second coming of Christ sitting next to them, putting him over like, oh my, this is one of the biggest stars in the world. Really? One of the biggest stars in the world. I mean, I can think of many, 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 many bigger stars than Bad Bunny, okay? I can guarantee you that the majority of fans, not all, of WWE fans have no clue who this guy was until WWE put him on our screens at the Royal Rumble and we all said, huh? What the hell is he saying? I mean, look, if he makes great music, more power to him. I don't want him on my TV screen. And I don't want him telling us, oh, it's my dream to be a WWE superstar. It's a joke. And then, of course, he gets the best of Miz and Morrison, of which, do I really care about that? Not so much, because you know how I feel about Miz and Morrison. I'm not even going to go there. But he's, the announcer's putting him over like, it's Michael Jordan, and it's 1993, and he's sitting next to them after he, just won a world championship in the NBA Finals. I mean, or it's LeBron James sitting there. I don't know why the hell I'm thinking of basketball. Or Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter. How about that for baseball? You get the drift. I mean, there is a long, 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 long list of people that are bigger stars in the world than Bad Bunny. I don't even know if Bad Bunny would be on the list at all for most people. And I could not help but laugh hearing Tom Phillips put over this guy that he is just the biggest star in the world. I mean, he literally said that. It's an absolute joke. And I don't know, when they bring a celebrity in, it's usually cringeworthy. And this wasn't the worst celebrity thing I've ever seen, celebrity segment, but it was bad. Okay, let's get to something else here. Let's see. Oh, Carlito's back, and he seems to be back at a part-time basis, or maybe somewhat full-time, as he teamed with Jeff Hardy to take on Jackson Riker and Elias. And Carlito hit the backstabber into Hardy's Swanton Bomb for the win. Can Carlito shave his face? I want to remember the old Carlito. I don't want to remember new, mature, 15 years older Carlito. Just a thought. I don't know. I really, really love that. But, okay, fine. And I think this might be the first win that Jeff Hardy's gotten, albeit not in a singles match, still tag team. Maybe the first win he's gotten in about 4 months since losing the Intercontinental Championship. So, Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. Now, I know I covered Alexa Bliss in the open here for about 20 minutes, talking about what she did on the top rope sitting there. And she had a match, too, with Nikki Cross. And Nikki Cross was still calling her best friend at the beginning of the match. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Can you get over it? She's like the girl that cannot Just accept the fact that she got, dumped, and she's just hanging on. And no matter how many times you beat her up, and I don't mean that in a domestic violence way, of course, but I mean it in a emotional, verbal way. No matter how many times you emotionally, verbally berate her, or whatever, that she just won't go away. And I don't mean that in a man-woman. I mean it in a friendship way. Okay, gotta be careful. So Alexa Bliss, of course, defeats Nikki Cross with her own version of Sister Abigail with a twist. I like how she's kind of customizing these finishes of Bray Wyatt into her own. Again, I like the fact this is probably the best thing that's ever happened to Alexa Bliss. I'm sure Alexa Bliss doesn't want The Fiend to return, because when The Fiend returns, it's going to be all about The Fiend and not about her. And so Alexa Bliss is getting the biggest shine of her career while channeling The Fiend's powers, still being his connection, still keeping his memory and his thought, the thought of him in the minds of fans alive, but also kind of doing her own thing. This has really been great for Nikki Cross. I mean, she is having the absolute best time of her career right now. I really believe that. But she beats Alexa Bliss, or beats Nikki Cross. She does her transformation into the old Alexa Bliss and feigns that she's back, and just transforms back and into her evil self and hits Sister Abigail. So what I'd like to see, and I've said this before, what about Nikki Cross joining Alexa Bliss? And what about Alexa starting her own little faction of dark women? I mean, I'd be fine with that. Yeah, we have the Riot Squad, but they're in like a punk rock goth. But what about Alexa Bliss starting her own faction, having a few women behind her? She's in that seniority role. She's got the star power. Why not? Why not? You need to have a star as the head of that group to build the other stars. And Nikki Cross right now, I think, could use it. And having Nikki Cross say, I was fighting it, Alexa, and, I just saw the power that you hold, and it made me want it, right? I mean, there's things that you could do easily. So I'm all for an Alexa Bliss stable at some point. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Alrighty, let's continue on here to something else that happened on Monday Night Raw, and that was Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin defeat the Lucha House Party in a Raw Tag Team Championship match, now, as expected. Now, this was not on the Hulu version, not. So here's what I'm going to read. This is right off of WWE.com, so here we go. Despite weeks of internal dissension, the Hurt Business worked together to repel a major offensive by their highly athletic opponents in the final seconds of the match. When it looked like Alexander was ready to put Grand Metalik away, Benjamin suddenly tagged himself in and finished things with pay dirt. So it's again teasing the dissension. It's status quo. I've already covered this many times as to why this is a stupid idea to tease any dissension within the Hurt Business, why it is way too early. There's no good payoff at this point. You are about a year early on being able to do this, yet WWE continues to push forward with the dissension as if we're supposed to pick a side and care who wins if they end up dissolving. The Hurt Business is on fire right now, a group that never was supposed to be, and why are we teasing dissension? They haven't even really got going yet, and you're going to tease dissension with a heel group? Good Lord, leave it alone. Okay, Damian Priest defeats The Miz. He also got a little bit of a endorsement from Edge for like 10 seconds backstage after this match. But Damian Priest beats The Miz, and albeit it was a bit of a tainted victory, but he showed us what he can do. If you guys haven't watched Damian Priest, and I'm a little bit limited on what he's done in NXT, I have now gone back and watched a little bit of what he is, what he stands for. This guy's the real deal. I'm excited for Damian Priest. Do I think he's a main eventer right away? No, I don't. But when you're having your debut match anywhere, you're going to win automatically. And The Miz is fine. The Miz is Teflon. The Miz can lose the next, 3 years of his life night in, night out, take the pinfall, and he's not going to lose anything because he has been defined as the heel that will talk a big game but ends up flat on his back. And there's never any heat building for him. It's always just talks a big game, gets put down, talks a big game, gets put down. There's no time to build the heat because as soon as he builds it, it immediately gets blown off by the babyface. He is the resident heel to take the fall, to be the butt of a joke. That's what The Miz is. I mean, it's I don't know. So, okay, but Damian Priest does get the victory, and that, of course he had to. We had Bad Bunny stopping The Miz from utilizing the Money in the Bank on the outside of the ring. John Morrison demanded the case. He gave it to him, and then we had Priest execute his finish for the win. So, can The Miz just please get rid of that Money in the Bank briefcase? I am begging them to please just have him cash in and lose. I'm asking for a friend. Xavier defeats Mustafa Ali or Mustafa. Are people actually saying Mustafa? I've heard it several times now. It's Mustafa Ali, but I guess that's neither here nor there. We had interference by Retribution, which led Kingston to jump off the steel ring steps, and he miraculously launched himself off of T-Bar's shoulders to take Slapjack out of the equation. In the midst of the distraction, Woods was able to seize the moment and pick up the quick pin on his outraged opponent. So we continue just unbelievably with Retribution hanging on by a thread, hanging on by an absolute thread of relevancy. But I mean, I guess they have to, considering who's New Day gonna feud with. I mean, you talk about a cold tag team or group in Retribution, and I'm not going to sit here and tear them apart as I've done, because you guys all know how I feel, and the logic that is completely lacking in their story. But they have nothing going on right now. Nothing. They trade wins back and forth every week. It took them forever to even win a match, number one, but then they start trading wins back and forth. Mustafa Ali, this could be a big opportunity for him, but they're not giving him a whole lot of mic time, which is where he shines. Of course, he's great in the ring, but his personality on the mic, I think there's a lot of potential there. And really, New Day, who are they going to, again, it's just someone for them to have a program with right now. That really leads nowhere. Okay, Riddle versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. This one didn't last long. It didn't. And I mean, I guess I was a little bit excited. We got to have our obligatory championship match on free TV. That's just happening every week now. And we had Bobby Lashley really dominate this match. I mean, go off on Riddle. And Riddle did get some nice offense in here, but it didn't last long because we got Lashley, who would not let go of Riddle, caught in the ropes. And he had Riddle caught in the full Nelson, the Hurt Lock. Riddle was in the ropes, caught in the Hurt Lock. And the referee counted to 5, because you have to break after 5. He didn't. So Bobby Lashley got disqualified. Matt Riddle picks up the victory. Obviously no title change. But what struck me out of just this particular segment was that we had Tom Phillips, I believe, or it might have been Byron Saxton, talk about the fact that Riddle, while he was tied up in the ropes, was tapping, and maybe the referee didn't see that. Go back and listen, because here's the problem with that. Even if the referee saw that Riddle was tapping while he was caught up in the ropes in the Hurt Lock, it wouldn't have mattered, because you can't tap out to a submission when you're in the ropes. It's just like when someone has you in a sharpshooter or the figure 8 or the ankle lock or whatever it is, and you get to the ropes. If you're touching the ropes at all, it doesn't count. So that was just a misfire, I think, by Byron, that the referee didn't see him tap, because Riddle did tap. He was in the ropes, but it was after Lashley got disqualified that Riddle tapped. So it really wouldn't have mattered anyway, though. But anyway, so what I liked here, though, was this. Yes, it was a short match. Yes, we didn't get what we wanted, and I think there's going to be a rematch at Elimination Chamber. That's my thought. But what I liked about this was the aggression of Bobby Lashley and the justification by the announcers telling us that why he was so annoyed was because of the fact that it took 4 men ganging up on him in the Royal Rumble to eliminate him and take him out of the equation, because Bobby Lashley was a big force in the Rumble. I thought he actually had the ability to win. When he came out, I'm like, this is the most relevant and most important that he has felt ever. And it did feel that way in the Rumble. And I'm glad that they justified it. They didn't just go, well, I don't know. They gave a reason. That I liked it. I really did. And I hope that Riddle does not capture the United States Championship. I don't need to see bro this, bro that. Add the word bro to everything because it's funny, or at least perceived to be some kind of comedy. I don't think it is. Riddle's great in the ring, but his personality to me is just super off-putting. But again, that's personal preference. So I like that this is going to continue. I love the aggressiveness by Bobby Lashley. Man, do I love it. It's like he's awoken. And he tells a much better story in the ring than he does on the mic. I wouldn't really give him the mic at this point. He's just weird on the mic. He's fine in very, very short bursts, but he can't ever really, at least from what I've seen in WWE, he does not cut a very good promo. And let MVP be his mouthpiece. And let's let Bobby Lashley do his talking through his actions. And boy, did he speak volumes on Monday night with his aggressiveness of not letting go of Matt Riddle, continuing to apply the Hurt Lock. I love this. And yes, it was a DQ. I understand people get mad at DQs. But did you really expect a clean finish between these two? It's, they built up to this. Matt Riddle earned it last week. It's the Raw after a pay-per-view. If you understand wrestling, you knew that this wasn't going to be a clean finish. Just so you knew that Edge and Orton wasn't going to be a clean finish. And it wasn't for the most part because obviously Alexa distracted Orton. So Edge got a kind of a tainted victory, although Edge should have won. So, okay, now let's talk about, and this will be the final thing on Monday Night Raw, Sheamus' heel turn. He brogue kicks Drew McIntyre after Edge comes out at the beginning of the show, and Edge comes out and really kind of gets angry at McIntyre because he says, yes, I was your mentor. I guided you. I'm a threat to your championship. Why didn't you beat the hell out of me when I got in this ring? And McIntyre said that's not the kind of champion I want to be, because he's the just clean cut champion, which I kind of love and hate at the same time. Because it's too clean, it's too pristine at times with him. He needs a little bit more of an edge. I think McIntyre needs a little bit more of an edge than just being this, I'm a stand-up fighting champion. It's a little bit too cute for me. I'm not a fan of that at this level. But, I'm not complaining about Drew McIntyre as a whole. I think he's just magnificent. But we get finally get the heel turn by Sheamus, who comes out, and it looks like he's going to maybe attack Edge, and he's defending McIntyre. And after the segment is over and Edge leaves, the music stops. And that should be my first clue of why the hell is the music stop? When the music stops, you know something's about to go down. But the music shouldn't stop, because how would the producers know who is going to do what in the ring, or if anything's going to happen? If this is supposed to be a show that just is unpredictable and is not scripted, which is how it should be produced and how we're supposed to feel, then how would the producers and the music and production crew know that something's about to happen? Oh, wait, we got to turn the music off. Well, why? Why do we have to turn the music off? So we can hear the announcers call what's about to happen? The answer is yes. But if you want a more organic feel, wouldn't you have just kept the music going and then had Sheamus do it during the music, and then you can shut the music off as a reactionary rather than a proactive? See, WWE oftentimes takes the proactive approach with something like this. I would take the reactive approach because it's a much more unpredictable when that happens. And look, we all saw that this was eventually going to happen. We all saw that Sheamus was eventually going to turn. He didn't feel genuine as a babyface. So it finally came, and he brogue kicks Drew out of nowhere, and the explanation he gave was that, everyone's just looking at me as, Drew McIntyre's friend, or, whatever. Basically that Drew McIntyre's overshadowing him, and that it's time for him to recapture the WWE Championship. So he broke his friendship over the championship. And Drew McIntyre was asked afterwards, and he was broken up. He did show some good emotion. The longtime friendship was broken up because of this, and he said, so be it. And he did seem genuinely upset. You're going to throw all this away for this. And I would say, as I think Samoa Joe did on commentary, I would have said, yes, it's that important. And it should be. Friendships are broken up all the time for things, especially in WWE. I don't know why announcers are so shocked when this happens all the time. But, friendships are made to be broken up in wrestling. But I like that McIntyre actually showed emotion. So that sadness and kind of disappointment and heartache that he's feeling should turn to anger next if you're following human psychology. And so I think that this is going to be a good match that presumably is going to take place at the Elimination Chamber in a few weeks as kind of a stepping stone. Do I think Sheamus is going to beat McIntyre? The answer is, oh, hell no. Okay, but I think they could have a very physical match, much better quality than Goldberg and McIntyre, excuse me, and one that ends up with McIntyre holding the championship at the end of the night. Because why would you get that close to WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre dropping it to Sheamus? The last thing I'll say is I'm very curious if WWE will acknowledge that Randy Orton was WWE champion for 3 weeks in over the summer, or late fall, I should say, with Hell in a Cell. And what I mean by that is McIntyre's in all likelihood going to carry the championship to WrestleMania. And that would mean that WWE has a really nice opportunity to say he's held it for a year. He won the championship and has held it for a year, and now he's back to defend it at WrestleMania. And ignore the fact that Randy Orton beat him for 3 weeks, or was champion for 3 weeks and beat him in Hell in a Cell for the championship. Very curious. Keep an eye out for that. Something to watch out for if they try to pull the wool over our eyes and go with the old Vince McMahon logic that wrestling fans don't remember anything, so screw it. Very, very interesting. Just keep that in mind. So who do I think Edge is going to challenge at WrestleMania? I think the answer is Roman Reigns. I don't think Edge versus Drew McIntyre would be a particularly interesting pay-per-view main event for WrestleMania because I don't think fans want to see either of them lose. Fans are loving the story with Edge back. Most people feel that Edge is who Edge was in the ring, or even better physically in the ring than before he left. The redemption story of having the championship taken from him, and now he's going to try to reclaim it, is a nice story. You don't want Edge versus a babyface because it's a way better story if you have a babyface versus a heel. And that to me right now is Roman Reigns. So after Roman Reigns gets through whoever his next opponent is, I think it will be, and maybe Daniel Bryan, I think it gets to Edge versus Roman Reigns. I'm interested in that. I know many of you are saying, oh, I'm not really interested. Well, they haven't really told the story yet. There isn't much of a backstory yet. So let's let them build the foundation. And it'll just be interesting when Roman Reigns finds out that Edge is challenging him. It could be at the Elimination Chamber. I would assume that they're not going to wait too long for Edge to announce it so they can get the program on its feet and going. But I think that's what it's going to be. And as far as who Drew McIntyre is going to challenge at WrestleMania, man, I don't know. I really don't. I'm going to have to see the lay of the land in the next few weeks because everyone that he's beaten, I mean, it could be Brock Lesnar coming back. I mean, certainly Brock Lesnar could come back and maybe do a rematch. I'll stick with that for now. It's an easy answer, but I'm sure it's not the right one. All right, guys. Well, that's my Raw review here. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow will be a double dose of this show with the wrestling nostalgia and the mailbag version of the show. I'm recording this, I had a few voicemails just come across. I saw the notification for voicemails pop up. So you guys are already starting to drop your thoughts about the Rumble and Raw, and that's great. 518-952-0247 or Real WWE Podcast at gmail.com. If you'd like to drop your thoughts into our mailbox, I'll read your email live on the air tomorrow, and I'll play your voicemails if you guys call in. Please keep it PG, okay? Please keep it PG, respectful. I hope I don't need to edit anything that you guys say. I haven't had to do that yet, but I have no worries. Okay, thank you, everybody, and you know what I'm going to say. I'll talk to you next time.
So here's something that I bet you don't think about a lot. That's your grip strength. You know, we use our grip strength for so many different things during the day that I don't think we realize how important it is. And how important it is to not just realize we're using it, but to strengthen it. Having good grip strength can mean the difference between falling and not falling, being able to hold onto that item or dropping it. And you know what else really good grip strength does? It creates a great first impression. Have you ever met someone for the first time and they give you that dead fish hand? That is not a great way to make a good first impression. So why don't you take care of your grip strength? Check out Grip Sanity. You may be asking, what is Grip Sanity? Well, It's an all-in-one device. It's easy to change handles. It'll have your forearms burning in minutes. It'll improve your grip strength, of course, but it's very convenient because you can take it with you anywhere. There's no clunky, equipment that you have to bring with you. So if you're wondering what this is and you want to learn out more information, go to gsanity.com and check out Grip Sanity. Look at the testimonials. It's one of those things, guys, that I don't think people really even notice or realize maybe they have an issue until they have a problem. So get ahead of it. Go to Grip Sanity. Check out gsanity.com. That's their website that you can look at the product. You can check out. There's tons of different colors, and you can find the one that suits you. So again, go out and check Grip Sanity. The website is gsanity.com.